Okay, so if you remember the chart that talks about drill bit wire gauges and wire gauges, what I'm going to use today, I'm going to use my 52 drill bit because it is the same size as a 14 gauge wire. And a 14 gauge wire is bigger than a 16 gauge wire, so that tells me that all of our wires will fit very nicely. So I'm going to place this on my bench pen. I'm going to put my drill in the center. Just going to take it slow. And I'm going to drill the others. And then we will continue. So now we're going to form a ring, just like that one, from our 16 gauge wire, and that will go through our hole, and we will close it, we will solder it closed, or we will fuse it. Let me think which was the easiest and best for you. And then we'll be done with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim that end. I'm going to take my bail pliers, and with the small one, I'm going to grasp the wire, and I'm going to come around, feeding the end off, keeping my rings tight. I'm going to do a couple because you can never have too many jump rings, and it's just easier to maneuver. Again, I've left a tail, just like with the tiny ones. I'm going to bend it at a 90-degree angle, put it in my hole. If it's a little bit long, because apparently my hole doesn't go all the way through, I'm going to go ahead and drill it all the way through. There. I'm going to take my saw, and I'm going to saw those rings apart. Actually wound up with 2 in a piece, so I will have an extra one later. So now I'm going to open that wide enough to get it through our hole. Feed it through. Take another pair of pliers and close it good and tight, rubbing the ends back and forth together. And I'm work hardening that bottom. Now, if you do not want to solder or fuse that ring, you are done. except for putting it in the tumbler. But see how nice the little tiny jump ring surrounds that bail, and it looks so much more finished than if we'd left it. So if you do want to solder, because I think that would be best, we don't want to risk overheating the remainder of the piece. What you're going to do is you're going to flux the piece. This flux will just protect that silver. Okay, so I'm going to set it out here on the block, and I'm going to turn the end so that it's completely out here. Now I think I'm going to take this third hand and I'm going to actually put that jump ring in that third hand. So I've got the seam turned up. Now that's going to hold that for me. So I'm going to take another piece of the easy solder. I'm not going to pick solder at this time. I'm just going to flatten. So I'm going to gently heat the entire piece just to get it warm. Now I have fluxed the solder, and I'm just going to barely heat that, and when I touch it, it should stick. So now I'm just going to heat the jump ring. I don't want to heat the earring if I can keep from it, so I'm turning my flame at an angle and just brushing it across the top of that jump ring. That solder is sitting right on that seam, and as soon as that jump ring gets hot enough, it will flow. Now it'll take a little longer than normal because this third hand is going to act as a heat sink and pull heat away. Now it's balled up, and sometimes that concerns people and they stop. But you just keep going and it will flow. And there it went. It would have gone much quicker if the third hand had not been pulling heat away. Now this probably, it's not too hot. The flux had made it stick to the third hand. So now I'm going to clean that up, and it's ready for the tumbler. Okay, so while our pendant is in the pickle, we've got our earrings here, and we're going to just simply put our earrings on, earring wires on. So we're going to twist that open. We never pull it apart. I'm going to place the end of that through our hole, wind it around until it falls in that little bitty round area. Same with this one. Put it in. And then I'm just going to twist this closed, and I'm going to twist it a couple times to make sure that that ball is rubbing on the back part of that wire. That will tell me that it's good and closed. Very cute little earrings. And these little squares, if they were really super close to the hole on your earring, they would be unattractive. So I love the little drop that it gives them. So it dangles just below your earrings. Now I have cleaned these up with the brass brush and Dawn soap. If you want to know how to do that, I do have a video in the Info for All section on cleaning jewelry with a brass brush. One thing I do want to tell you, always use Dawn dish soap when you're cleaning with the brass brush. If you do not have that type of lubricant, you run the risk of leaving little bits of brass particles, and it will discolor your silver. If those are ready for the tumbler, I'm going to go in probably and make sure they're good and clean. I haven't cleaned the ear wires. And then we'll be right back with the pendant to see how it came out of the pickle. As soon as I take it out of the pickle, I will use the brass brush and Dawn soap on it, and I'll be right back. So I thought I would add one more little step to this pendant. We have our round jump ring bail, and it looks very nice in the little jump ring hole. But I think I would like to make it an oval. These are rectangular pieces, and I think once we have it on our chain, having it on a rectangle ring will look very, very nice. So in order to do this, I'm simply going to take my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to, now one thing I do want to do, I think I'll find the seam, and I'll make sure that it's right behind that, so it'll always be hidden. And I'm just going to simply, I'm going to hold it carefully, and then I'm going to pinch. And just look from the side and make sure that it's even everywhere. And you can take your pliers and you can straighten it out where you need to. If there's any constriction, just hold it and work it back and forth. Also, the tumbler will help with that. I have a little bit of a tool mark for my pliers, so I'm just going to sand that off. Awesome. Now can polish that up, put it on our chain. Now this is just a store-bought chain. I bought it at Rio Grande. It is a Rollo chain, 2.5 millimeter Rollo chain. It's a pretty basic chain that I buy. I think this would also look cute. You can buy the little leather cords that already have the ends affixed to them. And that would be really cute on this as well. I like that I pinched that and made that a rectangular jump ring bail. It's not protruding out so far. So that, all those pieces are ready for the tumbler. And I will probably tumble those about 2 to 3 hours. Now, if this was a very long chain, I would not tumble it, but I'm going to go ahead and put the chain in there as well. It's not that long, and as long as it's in here, I think it will be okay. Now, there may be a little bit of kinking and knotting, but it won't be so bad that it's not easily undone. The Rolo chain, I can usually take tweezers or whatever and kink it, or it's not really a kink. It doesn't really kink, and that's what I like about the Rolo chain, but it does sometimes get in those knots. But with those smooth rings, it comes undone very easily. So there's our project. I hope that you're as pleased with them as I am. I know my students in the past, they have said that these earrings were some of their favorite earrings to wear. And I'm glad that I was able to add the little pendant. And you have a very nice little set there. So if this is not your style, you've got a Christmas present for your daughter or your granddaughter or your best friend. And they'll be very impressed that you were able to do this. So happy making, and if you have any questions, let me know.